All right, so this next video is going to be finding comps and comparable sales on Zillow. So Zillow is going to be a backup for comparing and finding your comps for determining a ARV. And it's going to be secondary to the MLS. So if you're not able to find any comps whatsoever or any form of data on the MLS, you can come to Zillow and find properties that have sold. Here's the difference. Zillow is handshake transactions. 9 times out of 10, Zillow has comps, properties that have sold that are between a homeowner and another interested party. This transaction is going to be without a realtor. So I'm finding that sometimes in certain areas, usually areas that are more of a rough area like South Dallas or South Fort Worth, those kind of properties, those kind of areas have properties that they are not involving realtors. So they're going to do the deal and put it online on Zillow, and a homeowner will want to purchase it. And it'll be a handshake transaction between the two of them without a realtor or a real estate professional. So let's just use our 2501 Havenwood Drive as an example. We comped this property earlier on the MLS. If we were not able to find any comps, what you can do is search this property on the MLS. You're going to close it out and use this search bar for finding properties that sold in the area. So what you're going to do is first select the first one. That's going to be yellow and highlight your solds. You're going to find same bed and bath, since it's a 3 to 4 that we can comp it to, and 2 bathrooms. And that's 3 or more with the 3+. And then we're going to make sure we're checking houses only. If it was land, you check land only. And if it's multifamily or condos, or apartments or townhomes, you can check those as well. Lastly is we can do a square footage range. Let's say you want to do 500 plus and minus on each side of your property. Or if it was a lot, you want to do a certain square footage on the comparables for the land. Or if it was year built and you want to do your 5 to 10 years plus and minus on each side of your subject property. And we're going to look sold in the last 12 months. Typically we do 9 months, which is 270 days, but that option is not available. So we don't want to cut ourselves short and do 6 months. We're going to look at 12 months out to determine what has sold nearby. After that, you can hit done, zoom out, and whatever's within this square on this map is what's going to show on the right side. So if you're zooming out so far, you're going to have a lot of properties come up, and it'll show how many results are comparing to what you put in your search criteria. So if I zoom nearby, there's Havenwood. We actually have 3 comparable sales in the last 12 months. And we can scroll on the right side to take a look at them. This one sold for $180,000. We have another one that sold. Doesn't look like they put a price. So what you can do is click it. Go to the price tax history. And a quick rule of thumb, you always want to search price tax history on your subject property. Because when you do, you'll find out if that seller has ever put their house up online for sale. Or you might even find out what that seller bought it for. If it says it sold maybe 20 years ago and it sold for a certain price, you know that seller, when he acquired it 20 years ago, purchased it at that price. So you now know kind of what pivot point you can use to determine what kind of equity position that seller is in. So it looks like this one was listed in May of last year for $199,876, and then it's sold with these dashes. So you can almost bet 9 times out of 10 that the property sold for this amount. They just didn't record what price it sold for. And now it looks like that owner is renting this house out, which is an excellent buy and hold strategy. So always keep in mind, you can go to price tax history to determine the taxes for the years that that person has it, and then price history for previous price history. And then the third comparable sale, which are these two. Now, one thing I will say is I won't look at these off the bat because they have 0 car garages. Somebody converted one here, and then 1 car garage. Ours is a 2 car garage. So really the most comparable one is here at 180,000. There's one for 252. It's a bit bigger. Ours is a 4.2. That's a 5.3. So it does not compare because we're looking for same bed and bath. But just a rule of thumb, really we have about 2 comparable sales, which are this one, that one's a comparable sale. And that one's a comparable sale. So we got 180, 220, and another 180. And let's take a look at this one real fast. Quite a bit smaller, so I probably wouldn't use it because it's way less than 200, even up to 500 plus or minus. Sold for 190. We could use it because it falls right in the lines of our price point. But it's a lot smaller. So really, if you wanted to have true comps, you need to count it out. So if we were to sum all those up, they would be actually very close to our MLS comps because the sum of those is right around 200 to 210,000 ARV. And that's what we got for our MLS comps. I'll zoom out more, I'll get more comps. And then again, this starts to change. Start seeing more sales. And you can just do a quick zoom sometimes and see kind of what trend is happening in the prices. 190, 180, 170, 175. So we know we're in a $170,000 to $190,000 neighborhood. But we always want to make sure we're keeping that boundary and going around about a half a mile to a mile radius. You can even decide to draw the zone you want to use. So let's just say, hey, we know we want to stay on this side of the highway. We always want to stay on the same side as the major highway and apply that. Now we cut out all the excess properties that don't compare because they're not in the same half a mile radius. And now we're working with at least the neighborhood, the part of the neighborhood we need to use. And then we need to just check in these for the price tax history to see what they sold for. But because ours is a 2-car garage, I'd be Xing those out and determining what I'm working with based on what I have. And it will typically give you a good starting point to your ARV. And this concludes our video for using MLS to comp properties.